book in you that you wanted to write?
I wrote a book.
Right.
It was all about it was in 2007. It was all about what the Democratic Party should do to win. The good news was Newt Gingrich said that if Democrats followed Schumer's book, they'd be the majority party for a generation. The bad news is Democrats didn't follow my book, and no one bought it. I have plenty of free copies.
Oh, okay. Thank you. I saw you Dancing with the Stars, and you are amazing. What I was thinking, were you a dancer before, or?
Oh, thank you. No.
You are amazing.
Thank you. I have taken choreography on Broadway, just taken choreography, but I had no professional dance training. I just love to dance, but like a regular person, put on good music and just dance. This was a whole different experience, so thank you.
Oh, you were fantastic. Tell me about your book. How do you find time to write a book, because you're so busy and you're in such demand?
Oh, thank you. I started a little over a year ago, working with, and I was recently on Newsfall. While I was out here at the beach on vacation, pilot for 5 hours a day, 5 to 6 days a week, and that went on. I worked for Newsfall Long Island in 2000.
Tell me a little bit about your book.
Well, a groundswell is a term for perfectly even balanced waves that's caused by a distant storm, and it's also known as ideal surfing conditions. So this book is about a young woman named Emma who finds out everything she thought she wanted was the best thing that ever could have happened. So she finds that perfect even balance in her life from a distant storm of a breakup, actually. So it's a fun love story, self-discovery. It's perfect for the beach.
Is this your first novel?
It is my first novel. I wrote 2 cookbooks in the
I know about that,
and so this is my first foray into fiction, and I had a great time writing it, and I think I'm going to do another one.
And you're a surfer, I know, from my daughter.
Yes, I love to surf, and surfing's really what inspired this book. I'd always wanted to write fiction and just could never come up with a story. And after about my 3rd surf lesson, I was walking on the beach, and the idea for this hit me, and I went in the house and started writing and never stopped.
Tell me what you know in Hungarian.
I told you what I really know. You couldn't be on the air with it. My parents cursed all the time. I was mad all the time. Nagyon szép kis fiúvaj. Nagyon szép. What a nice little boy. Nagyon szép. Nincs pénze, no money.
Now, do you have this in the book?
I have them speaking Hungarian in the book.
Okay, were they born in Hungary?
No. They were born in New York. They spoke fluent Hungarian.
Really? And you grew up in the Bronx?
I did.
Okay, that's a lot of Hungarians.
What my book is about. My first 25 years, age 9 to 25.
You've written so many books. Do you have a favorite, and what is it?
Oh, I think my favorite of my books is The Gold Pills. If I had a second favorite, I would probably say it was Plum Island, which is set mostly in the North Fork. But most often, I mean, it is supposed to have a favorite, but it's not always the one that was the big bestseller. It's just the one that you felt closest to.
Do you find that ideas just come to you, or is it as you get older, is it easier or harder?
Oh, I think it's more difficult. There was a time when there was so much genre fiction, whether it be police procedurals or Cold War. There were bigger subjects to discuss. Subjects now have become not as, there's no Cold War, there's a war on terrorism that I sometimes address in my books. But the ideas have become, and it might just be my stage of life, that they can be more difficult. I spend more time on the idea. I used to think when I was young I had 1,000 ideas. Now I'm down to 2.
Are you a disciplined writer? Do you get up in the morning and work from 9 to 5? You're going to work, or you just...
I'm disciplined when like a term paper, when the deadline is approaching. Within 6 months of a deadline, I become very disciplined. You have to, because you know where you are in the book, and you know you've only got about a half a year. And it hits you that you need to, write every day. And I usually write from about 10 or 11 in the morning until about 7 or 8 at night. I put in a very long day when I am writing. So I just do that for the last half year. You don't want to stretch the process out. You want to do as much as you can in a short amount of time because it has a better flow to it than putting it down, picking it up, going on vacation. So last 6 months is nothing but me at my desk, and it works.
All right, tell me, what made you write the book?
The 20th century offered the Jewish community an amazing opportunity to contribute to the art of America, the theatrical arts and performing arts in particular. And because it's something that was so special, a time that was so special, that allowed them to enter a field that had never been created before. A new field of entertainment that was based on meritocracy, that they were not shut out of. And they were major contributors. I mean, they built the theaters, they wrote the plays, they wrote the music, they directed them, and they acted in them. So it's really quite...
How many dogs do you have?
I just have one.
That's your dog. Okay.
And I've adopted 3 cats over the past 2 years.
Okay. Have you always had dogs?
Always, growing up, always had a dog and 2 cats. And guinea pigs, and we had chickens. We're just an animal-loving family.
Did you grow up? You didn't grow up in the city, obviously.
I grew up in Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Dad, what inspired you to write this book?
Well, I'm the spokesperson for the North Shore Animal League America, the largest no-kill shelter and organization.
I have a dog from there.
And I have such amazing experts and resources at my fingertips. And over the years, people just have assumed I'm a dog expert, and I am not. So what I've done was I got all of my experts together and interviewed them and came up with over 500 pages of wonderful information that I'm sharing as a result of my connection to all of these experts.
Your father?
My father was the most beloved Broadway columnist of his era, 1934 to 1974. He wrote not a gossip column, he wrote a column 6 days a week for 40 years. And I went through all 12,479 columns, and I pulled out the anecdotes on Ernest Hemingway and Orson Welles and Richard Burton and Ingrid Bergman and Danny Kaye and Milton Berle, 90 people. And I put them in chapters so that you get to know things about Charlie Chaplin and Phil Silvers and Charles Boyer and Sophia Loren, larger-than-life people, Marilyn Monroe, that people that didn't know this happened to them. Marx Brothers, all the people of that era. Then in the back of the book, I put my interviews from my days at NBC with Michael Caine and Penelope Cruz and Javier Bardem and Antonio Banderas and George Carlin and Ben Kingsley and George Clooney, to give it kind of a currency too. So I'm the second of 3 generations doing this because my son's on the E! Channel. He's their film critic. And
Ben,
he meets
right?
Yes, he's Ben Lyons. So this book is a life's work for me. I went through every one of his columns, and he never wrote anything nasty about anybody, plus they attacked him. But he was a gentleman in the profession of sharks. His great rival was Winchell. But 1 person came to Winchell's funeral, his daughter, and 1,000 came to my father's. That was the difference.
Wow, that's amazing. Oh, that's a good. Now, was your father personal friends with these people that he interviewed?
Yes, his best friend was Orson Welles.
Really?
Beatrice Wells is one of my dear friends. All these people came to our homes. I saw Barbara Streisand at our home and John Steinbeck. And one night, my parents gave a party for Ethel Barrymore. And I woke up and I heard the grown-ups talking, and I walked into the living room, and I didn't recognize anybody there. I was 5 years old except for Joe DiMaggio. And I walked up and I said, "Mr. DiMaggio, you're the best guest here." I walked past a room of lightweights I later learned were Edward G. Robinson, Ernest Hemingway, Marlene Dietrich, Fred Astaire, and Harold Arlen, who wrote Somewhere Over the Rainbow.
Wow. Oh.
And then Old Black Magic. So that's the kind of life it was.
It's a history of not so much London's hotels, but a history of society and government and celebrity of really the last century. And it includes Charlie Chaplin and Teddy Roosevelt and John Barrymore and Vivian Leigh and Richard Burton and Liz Taylor. And really it's their story is set in the background of the hotels. And we talk a little about the architecture of the hotels, but it's really a stage setting. The hotels are a stage setting for these great people. And it's not only celebrities, it's people like you and me who are just out to have a good time and relax and enjoy this beauty and this service.